Hello everyone, welcome to my crafty chit chat and slow stitching video. I have so much to talk to you guys about today. First let me get going here because I can work on this page while I am talking. Yep, so this is my little Just Because book so far. All of those pages are sewn in. This block that I'm going to work on now is going to get sewn right in here. So I'll move that to the side. Oops, I had a runaway button there. So I don't think that, look at all this stuff I have. Like really? Do I really need all of this stuff? Wait, let me bring this back over because I do have to cut this down. So this is a piece of a sheet and I used it over here and I figured, well, I'll just use it over here as well. And then this way, yeah, why not? I don't need to have things be matchy, but I did enjoy working on it, so might as well. Okay, so now that I have that, now I can move my little book. All right, so let's see. I did select a bunch of things. I don't know placement. I didn't play with anything like that. So we're going to do that together. The first thing for my crafty chit chat that I would like to share is, I don't know if any of you recognize this amazing dyed piece of lace, but check out my video from Saturday, 2 days ago. And yes, I used a bunch of old sprays to dye a bunch of fabric and laces. Credit goes to Susan Taylor Brown because, well, yeah. I watched her, do it in a video and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like just amazing. And it was a lot of fun. And yeah, but I don't want to, get too much into it. You can definitely head on over and watch that video. But in fact, I'll put it below in my description box. If I happen to forget it, to put the link down there, please remind me. Just say, hey, I don't see the link, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, and I'll add it. Yeah. So, yeah, so that was a ton of fun doing that. You know what? I had this little tag. I was thinking of, I think I'm going to make that a little pocket. I'm going to move it down just a little bit. But I think I'm going to, if I remember, I'm going to make that a little pocket. So I just have these pieces, right? I have, you guys know when you do, slow stitching or any craft, right? Whether it's a paper craft or, I don't know, even paints, you end up with like so much stuff, right? So I know you all know this. Just think of how many little paper scraps we all have. A lot, I know. Let's see. So again, I'm just playing around right here. So what I'm trying to think right now is if I have this here, so what do I want behind it? So like right now, that little tag is popping nicely. If I put this here, does it help or make it worse? Yeah, I don't know. I like it. It doesn't make it worse. This little piece is a very, very faint color. Oh, and you can see my fingers are green. And I had gloves on too. So I touched all my fabrics and lace after I took my gloves off. And that is why I have green fingers. I don't know that I'm loving that little piece right there. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I always go back to this beautiful piece of, oh, I see something else in my little bin here. I have this little bin next to me that just has, you know, fun scrappy pieces. So you know what? Something caught my eye, and this did right here. This is a piece of a sari. So maybe I can pull that in as well. But anyway, this is a piece of a scarf, and I use it often. So let's see. And I really like the way that this tears. It really, if you like frayed edges and the really rough look, like look at that. It just tears like amazing if you like that look. If you don't like that look, well, you can just cut it. But it really just gives so much character, I think. So let's see. So now I have like too much, right? I don't know. I'm going to put that back. I don't think I'm going to use that. So I think between these pieces right here is what I need. So like now, well, I don't even know if you can tell it's there. I was going to say I like this piece better with this over it. Something like that. That's kind of cool. It's like building up layers, right? I like that. How about this? Should I add this on here? Look at how yummy this is. Although now I don't know that I need it. So I'm just going to put it to the side. I do want to add some of this, of course. So I'm going to do this. And I'm going to put a couple pins in here. And let's start stitching. And I will share all of my crafty stuff I have going on. I have a whole pile of things next to me I want to share with you. Because as you know, I've been straightening up, and yeah. So you know what happens when you straighten up, right? It's like, oh, I need to use that. Oh, I need to use that. Right? Okay. So, I'm going to start stitching, but I do just want to share with you. I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of put little things here that you can see that while I'm stitching, I can talk about them. Because I don't want to stop stitching because I want to work on this with all of you. I did pull out some brown floss and some aggregated hand-dyed wool, and then a piece of, I'm not sure what this is. But I think I'm going to actually start with this piece. It's just a beautiful, like a really deep, like a burnt orange. You know, I have to put some hand lotion on because I feel like my fingers are just a little too dry. So these right here, so these beads, see them? Aren't they awesomeness to put on a page in a Just Because book? I'm just saying. I found these downstairs in my basement. So my basement is like my overflow area for my crafty stuff. So like I'm in my craft room right now, which is on my main floor. But, oh, maybe putting the lotion on wasn't a good idea, Susan. Oh, maybe it wasn't, because now my fingers are slippery, right? Although I do think, and now that I'm using this yarn, I kind of remember this being difficult. You know, I'm not going to fight with this the whole time. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not. I'm not going to use this. I think this is, I want to say it's Appleton yarn, and I just have the hardest time with it. But I really, really, really liked that color. So I'm going to switch over to the hand dyed yarn, and let's go with this because this should be a lot easier to use. So anyways, I found all these beads. See them? So it is going to be, and this is a flower, and you know I'm doing a lot of flower stuff in this Just Because book. So yeah, so I thought that they were a lot of fun. I don't know where I got them. I do not know. How come I can't get anything through this through this fabric? Oh my gosh, what is my problem? I don't know. I have to laugh. If this continues, I don't know what my problem is. You know, I did notice on the last page that I did with this sheet for the block, that it was hard to pull the needle through, which is like really bizarre, isn't it? Look at what I'm doing here. It's really bizarre, right? Because, I mean, it's just sheet fabric. How the heck can it be so hard? Isn't that pretty? That's such a beautiful, beautiful color, or colors, since it is multicolor. Okay, so that's pretty. So I think I'm just gonna keep going here. Now I have to remember not to sew the top of that little, what I'm gonna call a pocket. Now I'm gonna move it over just a little bit because I want to see the stitching that I just put on there, and that I think I'm gonna move, well, no, I'll put it right about there. And so yeah, so those beads I will be using, not today, but I will be using them. So they're going to stay here on my little mat for my Just Because book, because this is my special mat just for this book. And that's kind of how I do projects. I have a special area for each project. So, yeah, and that's just how my mind works. It's like I need to have, like, I don't want to take everything out every time I want to do something, right? So, like, this stays on this mat, all this stuff, my Just Because book, the whole thing. And so whenever I want to work on it, or if I'm going to work on a little piece of it, I'll just, you know, grab that little piece and go into my living room and stitch it. But otherwise, I just pick up this whole mat and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to roll. I have everything on it. I have my scissors, I have my pins and my needles. I have a nice assortment of stuff to use. And yeah, so that is how I like to have my stuff ready to use and to work on. The next thing I want to share with you is this. This, I think, is probably, it's a piece of fabric. I think it is also maybe a piece of a sheet. You know where I found that? I found that in a really old sewing machine drawer that I have downstairs. So I have like one of those really old sewing machines, you know, in the wood case. It's just gorgeous. And it has 4 drawers. It was my aunt's and my grandmother's. And I don't use it. It's just there. And the other day, because like I say, I'm cleaning downstairs, um, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't looked in those drawers in a really long time. So I opened the drawers and there was this piece of fabric. I don't remember the last time I've actually looked in those drawers, but yeah. So I pulled it out and how do I want to do this? Let me think about this for a second. So I know I have to sew across the bottom, and I know I need to do a little sewing over here. Oh, that I'm not going to be able to sew down, but that'll be okay because I'm putting another piece over it. But I do need to get this down up here as well. So now I'm thinking, to keep these vertical lines going, like the thread, I guess I could, I think what I'll do, because I really like it on the white, so I think I'll come down and do another stitch. I'm making my stitches fairly large, and on purpose, because I'm doing that because I want to see the beautiful thread. So, oh yeah, no, that's okay. I can still put the tag in. So anyways, this piece has to be old. It doesn't look super old. It's not like I don't think it's like an antique piece of fabric or anything like that. But it is from my grandmother and my aunt. That I know, right? Because I've never used that sewing machine. I've never seen anybody use that sewing machine. So that was a fun little find. And what I'm realizing now as I'm holding this is it's hard, right? It's hard. I think I'm going to throw that in the washing machine. And yeah, and then it will be fun to use, and I can use it in my Just Because book. Just because I like it. What else? Oh, as I was digging through things, I realized I have a whole bunch of this lace I basically forgot I had. I have this beautiful, this is paper, but isn't it gorgeous? So I'm like, oh, I have to add that to a page for sure. And then I have the ruffles, the beautiful yellow. So those are some things that I kind of found, and yeah, and I pulled out, and so these things are now here on this work area so that I have them to use on a page. So like I said, that's how I like to do things. All right, now I'm looking at this, right? So now look at all the frayed edges. Aren't they yummy? But now I'm here where I have to decide what to do. So like I'm at a beautiful frayed edge. I can do another stitch here, but this is all frayed as well. So do I just forego putting a stitch right there? I can. And you know what? I think I will. And the reason why is because, well, this is going to go here anyway. Okay. So that's my decision. So I'm just going to keep going with this running stitch. Oh, it's kind of like a cantha stitch, right? Where, if you know what a cantha stitch is, or stitching. So, okay. So that was more of the stuff that I've been finding. And then I think I'll share a couple more things with you. So I have a box. It's a iris box. You guys know that from Michael's, the iris box that you can put like 12 by 12 scrapbook paper in. So I have one of those. In fact, it's kind of next to me, but it's under two wicker baskets that are filled with different like tea dyed fabrics and stuff. But I do have it there, and I was looking through it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have what they call it gauze. I guess it could be like a cheesecloth. I don't know if there's a difference between the two, but I'm like, you know what? I need to take out this black and this gray because I can use it on a page in my Just Because book. Oh, I don't know that I'm liking the fact that these are so uniform. That looks kind of weird, right? Well, since it's kind of going that way, I'm just going to stick with it. I'm not going to worry too much about that. I don't like things uniform, so it does kind of bother me. But again, the tag is going to be there and it will break it up. So anyway, I found that gauze, which is actually, I'm sure I got it at Michael's after season. It's actually from Halloween. Now, I don't celebrate Halloween, but I really like the gauze. So, and I've had it for years. I mean, you know, it's nothing new, but yeah. So I have that. So those are a couple things that I plan to be using. So I'm excited about that. So, you know, if you like, I don't know, if you feel like, not that, I don't know, it's like, if you feel like you want something new to work with, look through your stuff. I don't know if you're like me, even though it's in front of me, I don't necessarily see it when it is under two baskets of fabric, right? That whole iris case. And so I forgot what was in it. I took out a whole bunch of stuff really from it to use. I have like these pretty flowers in there. I have like all of these in there. I have these in there. So I restocked my little drawer here. I took out this little thing that has some pretty ribbon in it. You know, I forgot it was in there. So it's like, whoops. So like, what good is it to have it just sit there and not use it, right? Well, I mean, we forget about things, but that's my point. You know, we forget about them. And if you feel like you want something new and exciting to work with, just look through your stuff. I don't know. I would imagine that you will find something that you forgot about. All right, so I'm thinking I like this being loose over here without any yarn. So I'm going to knot this off. Wow, I think I might be getting this done all in one video, and that's because I did big stitches. So these things I'm just going to move just to the side over here. And so now all I have to stitch, and I'm not going to have enough of this yarn. So I think what I'll do, just because I have it here, is I'll switch over to the brown floss. And I'm going to stitch along here so that I have the bottom of my little pocket stitched. So on here, remember, this is where the tag is going to go. So I'm just going to do a fun little, actually I should have done like a back stitch or something here. One thing I do find is when I make these chatty videos, it's very hard for me to think about doing more complex stitches. If I have time, I do think maybe I'll add maybe some French knots or something on here. Like even if we did a couple of them together, that would be good. All right, so All right, let me finish this off, and then we're going to get these pieces on there. And then we'll figure out where we're at. I'm watching the time. I have, I don't know, about 10 minutes to go. All right, so now I have to figure out what I'm going to do, right? So I know I'm going to put this in here. So, you know, don't be afraid to add a tag, add paper to your slow stitch pieces. It's fine. There is not a slow stitch police person out there. I promise you. I promise you, especially when you're working on a just because book, because you get to put in it whatever you want. End of story, right? End of story. All right, let me finish this right here. And then I want to get that bottom trim on. Oh, man. I tell you, stitching can hurt your fingers, right? All right, so now as far as I'm concerned, that pocket is done. At least for right now, it is done. This beautiful piece of sari, I can actually add like that. And I can add this dyed trim. I don't need to get that particular, so I think that that is more than fine. Let me just get that on there. So that piece of sari, which I had actually cut something out from, you know, what should I do? I think I'm just going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to tie this off. Let me just tie this off. But that piece of sari I had used, I cut an applique off of it, and that's like the leftover remaining piece. So, you know, I mean, I don't keep every single teeny tiny piece of fabric, but, you know, certain pieces, it's like, well, you might have thought, well, what am I going to do with that, right? But I don't know, I like it. So I think I'm going to switch over to my pearl size 8 thread. I have to put a knot in it. And let's use this because I think I want this color to pop on this darker color. So I think what I'll do is I'll put a few French knots there and a few up there, and that will hold that down. So I'm just going to stitch this across, and I don't have a tremendous amount of thread on this needle. But I think what I'll do is, let's go ahead and do, let me turn it. I think what I'm going to do is the back stitch. So I have my stitch, and then I go back to the end of the prior stitch and stitch again, right? So it looks like it's a whole, it's going to almost look like it is just a long straight line of thread. So that's what the back stitch is. And I want to kind of do a little bit, I almost want to say, I just want to, I don't know, I'm like running out of time. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this right here, not the video, this, doing this back stitch, right? And I'm just going to kind of put the thread here because I'll finish that after this video. I want to do just a couple of the, well, that's going to be too short. A couple of the French knots with you. Just a couple, just to get them on here. And then that's going to be the end of our video. Yes, it is. So I'm going to put like probably 3 over here. 1, 2, 3. I'll go around 3 times. Oops. Okay, there's 1. Oops, I just jabbed myself. Did you guys see that? Totally jabbed myself. 1, 2. Now, just because I'm stopping working on this in this video doesn't mean that it's the end of this, me working on this block, because I don't know what I'll do. I have buttons sitting over here that I thought I would get at least one of them on. So I'll see. Oops, what did I do? Uh-oh. Oh, look at this floss. You know, I have to do some, oh, I messed up something here. If I pull it through, will it fix itself? I don't think so, because there's like a knot. I can't. Oh, see, I couldn't get through one video without messing something totally up. All right, I'm not going to take the time to fix it in this video, but there's a couple little French knots, and I will finish those as well. So next Monday, when I have my next crafty chit chat and slow stitching video, I will, you know, definitely share everything that I did on this particular block. And yeah, so I'm gonna finish that up, and I have a button. I have a couple buttons. I like that button. I even have a little bitty paper clip. Oh, maybe I'll just put that right on here. Ha! Look at that. Done. And I also have this on a little bulb pin. It has, you know, just like a little ticket thingy and a little button. And maybe I'll sew this on here somewhere. I don't know. You'll see next Monday. So definitely stop on back next week. And this is where I am at so far with this block. So please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all so very much. You make this fun for me, and you are all quite the blessing. That's for sure. So thank you, and have a wonderfully blessed week. Bye-bye, everybody.